Now, the 57.8 billion naira worth of food palliatives approved for members of the National Assembly by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for onward distribution to their constituents is raising dust. While some lawmakers confirmed receiving palliatives said to be worth 200 million naira for senators and 100 million naira for members of the House of Representatives, others denied that. This is just as many constituents across the country are accusing their representatives of hoarding the items. The presidency, while showcasing Tinubu's scorecard in palliatives disbursement to Nigerians, had revealed that each senator got 200 million naira worth of palliatives and 100 million naira worth of palliatives for each member of the House of Representatives. Now, this development is on the front burner today on our program, and we have in the studio Nuruddeen Hammanyerro. He is a politician and a veteran from the Nigerian Navy, and also we have Dr Sam Uguche from Yiaga Africa to do justice to this issue. But before we commence our discussion, let's listen to the video of Honorable Dr Hammanyerro, a member representing Esako Federal Constituency, which has since gone viral.
We thank God I'm back in the Esako Federal Constituency to celebrate the Christmas with our people. I want to appreciate President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for deeming it fit to give all the members of the House of Representatives palliative grains. So here you have 2 trailers of rice. You can see 1 trailer on the right, 1 on the left. So I prepared this for my constituent here in Esako Federal Constituency. So I want us to celebrate the Christmas in a very joyous mood. Thank you so much. There's a trailer here. These are 2 trailers here. Give way. And now put one of those states. Here is another one. This one is not up to. This is about 400 bags that we have here. There's 2 trailers of rice here. This is 400 bags. Can you see the rest? Then another trailer here. I have about how many bags of rice? About 900. One because of the space. All in all, we have 4 trailer load of rice. That is 600. That is 6 times 4. That is 1,000. 6 times 4, 2,400 bags of rice, which we have branded in my name for my federal constituency.
Well, there you have it. You have Dr Hammanyerro, a member representing Esako Federal Constituency, revealing the palliatives given by the presidency. Well, gentlemen, we've seen that video, and welcome again on the program this morning, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. Well, let me start with you, Hammanyerro. We've seen that video, and it's generating a lot of buzz. Not just the video, but because of the seeming controversy around the issue. Some lawmakers have said something about not receiving, this worth of palliatives and all that. And so that's back and forth. And the question of whether the people that this is intended for will eventually get whatever it is that was given in their name, is now on the table. What do you make of all the controversy around this?
First of all, I will. There has to be a communication that is adequate, and it should come from the presidency. Let it be very clear that these palliatives have been, or funds have been released to members of the National Assembly to go and make palliative available to reduce the suffering of their constituents. If that is clear from the federal government or the presidency, then, because even the person we are looking at now, the member from Esako, should have made a statement about it, because he only said, I'm making this available for my constituency people so that we celebrate the Christmas in a nice way. It could be from his pocket.
He did mention at the earliest. He did mention that it was given by the president.
But I didn't really hear that. I only heard.
He mentioned.
Now, if he said that, then there is room for us to ask questions, because to tell you, just 2 weeks ago, I contested for member House of Reps. I was in my constituency. I visited for 5 days. And I was asking this question, have we really called our leaders across board, from the governor of the state down to the senator, the reps, and even the members House of Assembly? What have you done from the time you were sworn into office to now? This is December. Can we review things together? And what is your plan for 2024? Now, assuming this, like the honorable member from Isako said, was given by the presidency, by the president, is true, assuming 100% is true, then the constituency people in all parts of the country should hold their members accountable, both the Senate and the members House of Representatives. Because I raised this question, nobody is talking. We don't talk. There is I don't know, is it because of how we got these people elected into their positions? We compromised, we threw away our right, accepted things as packages from those people, voted them into office without even knowing what they are coming to do. And now, politics has become business, just like the former president said. Siyasa sana in Hausa.
But we wouldn't really say Nigerians don't talk to. Nigerians, if there is one thing, especially on social media, and we've seen the civil societies also make efforts in order to at least call these people accountable. But speaking on that transparency that you mentioned, Doctor, the presidency should have informed Nigerians of its kind gesture to them, during the Christmas season. We saw how everything panned out, with people having even difficulty in traveling from one place to another to go to their villages, and the food cost was quite high, that period. So what do you think happened that made the presidency not to release a statement before this? And if not for, a video like this coming out, people will not even be aware of this palliative.
Yes, if you look at the nature of, legislative constituent relations, in Nigeria, you'll find out that Nigerians have a lot of expectations, from their legislators. Expectations that have nothing to do with legislative business. Expectations that have nothing to do with specifically lawmaking, nothing to do with oversight, nothing to do with representation. And that is what you are seeing playing out in this palliative saga. Let's even drop this particular issue now. If you look at an average lawmaker in Nigeria, either at the National Assembly or state assemblies, you find out that they go into things that shouldn't concern them, because constituents expect them to do those things, not knowing the boundaries. Coming to this, the presidency, whether it's true or not, if you look at the video that we just watched, the lawmaker said this is from the president. And he counted, is it 4 or 6 trailers, amounting to 2,400 bags. What would 2,400 bags do if you actually want to touch the lives of Nigerians? 2,400. This may not even be up to the number of voters from a polling unit. Then just a minute. Then you now see the controversy now being whether this actually went to all lawmakers. Some are saying no, some are saying yes. But as he said, it is for the constituents. I wonder why, as you rightly raised, the presidency did not issue an official statement telling citizens, we have given out this for you. Then citizens can now be equipped, not based on speculations, to hold their legislators accountable.
So in this vein now then, do we encourage this practice? Because let's leave the issue of communication in one hand. You mentioned something very striking, and I can imagine that many people will be very sentimental about this, what I'm going to say now. Should we encourage the idea of having lawmakers sharing palliatives? Because from information that we got was that some of the lawmakers went and took the request to the presidency on the basis that their governors and so on distributed certain palliatives, and so on their part, they needed to do something as well. And so that was why the president decided to grant this and say, okay, go ahead and do this. And you talked about the perception of the average Nigerian on their lawmakers. The pressure and the emphasis from the constituents is not really about making laws that will impact the lives of, impact their lives, but much more about the lawmakers providing certain things. And we've seen how sometimes it seems like a justification for lawmakers to dip their hands into what it's not meant for them and so on. So should we encourage the idea of lawmakers sort of deviating from their constitutional role of lawmaking into distributing palliatives?
Okay, first of all, if you look at Nigerians, especially the economic situation, an average Nigerian wants, a certain level of impact from his legislator. And as I said earlier, not directly linked to the business of legislation, not to the business of oversight, not to the business of representation, which are the core functions of the legislature. Now, assuming, I don't know how this palliative came about, but assuming the legislators approached the president, why did they do so? Their constituents don't know what should be from the executive, what should be from the legislature. As far as they are concerned, take example, somebody wants to do a birthday party, he looks for his legislator. He wants to do naming ceremony, he looks for his legislator. He wants to marry a second wife, he looks for his legislator. His mother died, he looks for his legislator. So you see, an average legislator is overburdened. And Nigerians don't want to hear these explanations that, no, it's not a legislative matter. Because of that pressure that legislators are now battling to come out of, they don't have any option, especially against the backdrop of the fact that they have gotten a name that shouldn't be given to them in terms of pay. Many people believe that legislators are the richest in Nigeria, not knowing that if you hear a figure, it has to do with legislators, their aides, legislative staff. Take National Assembly, for example. You have National Assembly Service Commission, you have a budget office, you have NILS, you have public. So when you put all these things together, all the funds that Nigerians are thinking belong to legislators.
Okay.
So to conclude on that, ordinarily, they shouldn't go into this. But because of the special situation they have found themselves, going by the fact that we are still coming up, then they don't have any option.
Okay.
If you want to deliver according to the yearnings of your people.
I'd like your take on this. I mean, where do we draw the lines? This is coming against the backdrop of the saga at the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, where, money meant to go for, Nigerians and the less privileged and so on goes into personal accounts and so on, and then results in a saga. So the issue of corruption and the implementation of policies, is very crucial. Where do we draw the line for legislators here who are, doing this, and whether or not this will encourage, acts of corruption and misappropriation?
First of all, is to commend the president for doing what he did yesterday. This is just the beginning of the year. We have a lot of expectations, and to start the year with asking a sitting minister to step down for proper investigation to take place is the right step in the right direction. And we expect these things to be sustained. This tempo he has just introduced yesterday to be sustained. And the investigation should go very deep. Like a senator yesterday from the southern Borno, Senator Ndume, who represents, and the chief whip of the Senate, said yesterday on a phone conversation, she wouldn't have acted alone. So the investigation should publish at the end everyone that is tied to this corruption. And whatever decision that will be taken by the president should affect these other people. Because he raises concerns about a cabal that is emerging in the president. He didn't go into detail, but I'm sure he must have seen something or heard something. So to draw the line, The president has to do a lot. He should know that Nigerians are behind him. And whatever that is taken should be recovered.
Yeah, but Hammanyerro, I'm more concerned about the system of corruption here. How we sometimes, unintentionally perhaps, lay the background for corruption to actually thrive and take place by certain policies, certain actions. So I'm bringing this issue of distribution of palliatives, which is not within the purview of the lawmakers. And we're saying that they are now having to do that. And we know how it is when it comes to, distribution of items like this, how usually sometimes it goes in a different direction, not meant.
First of all, I subscribe to the idea that the lawmakers should distribute. And I have my reasons. We have given them a mandate of trust. We have given them a mandate of hope. We have agreed that in the next 4 years, they should represent us, and they are the ones to mediate between us and the federal government. Like my brother here says, be it in terms of their oversight functions or making legislations. Now, that means the nearest person to the constituency is either the senator or the member House of Reps. So if I have entrusted...
What happened to the local government chairman?
I'm coming.
What happens to the councillors? What happens to the governor?
It's not functioning, so let's forget about it.
So shouldn't we be channeling our energy?
Why shouldn't they be functioning?
We have state members of assembly.
I agree to that, but what I'm telling you is, and we all here know that local governments are not functioning in Nigeria. If they are functioning, the mode of our conversation today will be different. But if the member House of Representatives or the Senate will be honest, now like the Senate, the reps from Isako, by the time you add up these two trailers, he said a trailer I think is 600 bucks. If you add up the two is 1,200 plus another 400, which is around 1,600 or 2,000 thereabout. But a bag of rice today in the market is 40 to 50,000. So as people are speculating that they are giving 100 million, the Senate's 150 or 200, if you divide that is 100 million by 40 or 50, that's the number of bags of rice we are seeing there. It means he has done the right thing. Now, it is just the distribution that will matter. Is he distributing to his APC members or he is distributing to everybody in the constituency? That's the questions we should be looking at. Because...
So in all honesty, do you really think that at that level, distribution will be done, in accordance with what should be and not to party loyalists?
If he is honest to have justified this number of bag of rice to the constituency, then I'm sure he will do the right thing. And that is where involving the people at the lower level, like the members House of Assembly, his coordinators, the party chairman, and other people in the community, where you have the kings and every prominent member, then they come together and design how to distribute this. But I agree 100% that they should share it.
Indeed, okay. We still have a lot to hatch on that one. But Doctor, let's talk about this process of distributing of palliatives. Since the inception of democracy, every government would come and say, I want to, elevate poverty. I want to eradicate poverty in the society. And every government comes with its own different mandates and ways that they want to do this process. But one thing is common. It's like every time they try to move past poverty, we are pushed deeper into the poverty situation. Lots of people would see the different processes of the distribution of palliative. They say that we should involve the village, even the district heads, we should involve this. And then now they are pulling the distribution allegedly through the lawmakers. But then even at that, allegedly, a lot of people did not even know that it's happening. So could it be that whatever way that we follow in order to get these things to reach the people that are really in need of this palliative, it's going to be futile? Should we just drop the whole poverty elevation mandate?
Oh, well, in a democracy like ours, you can't just drop the idea. Because whether we like it or not, many Nigerians are in need of these interventions. The challenge, however, is this manner of distribution. Linking it to what we saw at the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. These programs were designed to improve the lives of Nigerians. But along the line, the outcome is what we are talking about. The same way, legislators are trying their best now in terms of this. Well, taking an example from the so-called representative, he has shown us the trailer loads, which he counted, to amount to 2,400 bags.
Which he is one out of how many?
Yes, so we have not seen what others have done. So let us use what we have seen here as the yardstick, because we've not seen any other one from any other person. Now, this lawmaker will not go about distributing. Definitely some people are going to be put in charge of distributing this. And at the end of the day, you are going to find out that somebody has not gotten even a cup. Others have gotten 2, 3, 4, 5 bags. So you are going to see this corruption is not only at the top, but it goes down the line.
Okay, could it be the people down and looking at the people up and emulating exactly what is happening?
Well, it's not a matter of any person emulating anybody. Even at the home front, you still have corruption. So we have to, there's this need for moral reorientation. That is why I like what late Dora Quinley was doing at the Ministry of Information then. It begins with me. So if we have moral reorientation, public enlightenment, citizens should know how to hold their legislators accountable.
Okay, Doctor, yes, it's very good, very important to have that moral reorientation, but when the grounds for corruption to thrive are there, when we provide incentives for corruption to thrive, it becomes very difficult to deal with it. This idea of having a palliative from the presidency down to the lawmakers at the national level, by the way, and then down to states and so on, isn't it reinforcing exactly part of the challenges that we are having, that we say the central government is too powerful and that there's need to revive governance at the local level, at the third tier of government, at the local, aren't these opportunities for us to strengthen governance at that level?
Okay, yes, you are right. Ordinarily, the closest tier of government to the people should be the local government, is the local government. But as he said, the local governments have not been functioning well because of what I would call subjugation by the state governors. The central government has been trying. We want to give local governments autonomy. The state governments are fighting it. Why? Because I was just reading this morning a state where they just appointed sole administrators for local government, where the constitution says democratically elected local government. So why are they doing this? They have full control. Looking at the federal structure we have in Nigeria, the federal government shouldn't have ordinarily direct link, because we have federal government, state government, and then the local government. But because these structures are not functioning well, you cannot blame federal legislators for going down. Because if you leave your people without that intervention, this is massive. And that's why I'm saying what the federal government has even done now is even grossly inadequate to actually address the needs of Nigerians. But they've started. The good thing now is that they've started. It is for all stakeholders to make the system work. The government has been trying over the years, but sabotage along the line. You release funds, like what we are seeing at the ministry. How do you disburse funds through a private account? How?
Well,
under the financial regulation.
They call it a project account.
It's not, maybe. Whatever it is public funds, which the law prohibits from being paid into a private account. It's a strict liability offense. Whatever the intent, the law is you must not do it. So if you do it, it becomes, so when you see these layers of corruption, it's a kind of sabotage of the efforts of the government. The intent may be fine, but along the line you will see it. So when you see federal local relations, it tells you that, look, these things have overwhelmed the local government. They don't even have capacity. If you go to many of the local governments today, the workers just come out, put their mats and sit under the trees, rest and go. They wait for the end of the month, allocations come, they take, they go. So what is it that they can do with what they are left with? when the state governments have taken over everywhere.
There's still a lot to talk about.
It's a lot, so it's a big problem.
All right, Hammanyerro, let's talk about, this controversy happening, because there is still no clear, situation of knowing exactly what the situation was, rather. So we saw some lawmakers come in to say, we did not get this. And there are others that, are given a bit of hint. And there's been a bit of research being done in different states where some people said yes, they got some things from their members, reps or senates also, while others are saying we did not feel the impact at all. So what could be the reason? As a politician, I want to get your thoughts on what could be happening in that political arena where there's a bit of denial when it comes to this.
With due respect to the electorate, we have lost our moral ground to actually check politicians when they get to public offices. We've lost it for quite a long time. And I tell you, I have seen this happen throughout the period I campaigned during the 2023 general election. Hardly, no matter how you speak to your people and tell them that this is the need, this is how this is your understanding of governance should come through this direction. This is your expectation. This is what you need to equip yourself so that you can check whosoever you are taking to that office, in relation to what you expect from him. But the result is not the case. It has always been, what do you have for me at the moment? And it is a case of give and take. I need 500 naira, I need 1,000 naira. We have reported cases of politicians giving money or handouts to people on election day. And tell me, if I spend 200 million naira to become member House of Reps, how do you expect me to return the first 100 million naira that comes to my hand for palliative? How do you justify it from my constituency? And you benefited from the money.
But you just agreed earlier that you agreed that they should be given that palliative to
I agree.
people.
What I'm saying is, I'm just trying to tell you that I agree they should be given the palliative to distribute. Now it's left for the reps or the Senate to do what is needed, the needful. Go back to his people, forgetting that yes, he has also paid his way into that office. But at this time, this is about their right. Mm-hmm. It's not about the money he spent. And it is with that we change the narrative.
But then I understand you are talking about the attitude of the electorate also towards their leaders and the elected officials.
Exactly. And some people borrowed money to do this. We are just being honest to ourselves. Some people borrowed money and spent this money just because they know it is money that will pave way for me, not how I make my people understand that if I go, they have issues around medical facilities, schools. I can mediate with the federal government to make sure we fix this, we fix that. Nobody wants to hear this. So when he talks about...
They're only interested in the handouts you're going to
when
give.
he talks about moral orientation, I subscribe to it 100%. And it's not a duty of one person. It's a duty of all.
So what should the electorate do in situations like this?
What we should be doing is for the youth. I will start with the youth. What the damages that has befallen our society, we are too young to absorb it. And if we can't wake up to these challenges and come together and face each other and say, this is what we need to do to change this narrative going forward, then we will continue to be in this problem for a long time. And like I said, we have to be talking. Like he mentioned, on the average now, if you go to your village and ask somebody, if you meet somebody that you are a member House of Assembly, all he knows is you should give him money. He wouldn't even ask you about your responsibility. He doesn't know, and he doesn't want to know. All he knows is you have money to give him. So he can't differentiate between the executive and the legislators. His only demand from you anytime, like he said, is money. I am sick, money. My children are sick, money.
Okay,
and what we should be doing, just to close it, what we should be doing is, I will continue to say this, we need to be checking our representatives at all levels. We have unions, we have trade unions, we have farmers, we have students, we have all manner of unions in all government settings. Call these people at all levels. We are inviting you, this is the end of the year. What have you done and what are you going to do for the next 1 year? And you can use that to follow through. If he's not doing it, you check him. At the end of his 4 years, you have a scorecard.
Do we need to, okay, before we even get to the checking these people, do we even need to? You came out and promised these people that you are going to work for them. You are part of them and you want progress for them. And then these people voted you into office. Should you even be checkmate on your things, you know, to do for your own constituency? Why is it so? Why are these people? Okay, one question I want to even ask you. From, you know, the election in February, which happened in February, to this date, would you say that all the senates and the reps have done at least a step, taken a step towards giving back to their constituency?
I will go with my constituency first. No. Because I have asked, I have used proper mechanism to check. In fact, I have never seen him talk. So I will tell you no. So if I can't call him through the right medium to find out what have you been doing, how do you expect him to do what is right? But if he knows that we call him to order, if he knows that we are prepared to, at the end of his 4 years, give him his scorecard, and that would determine whether he will come back for the second time or not, then...
All right.
Yes.
So one of the qualities of a good leader is accountability. Is one that is ready to be accountable to his constituents. We understand, yes, the level of political awareness in our, in our climate is quite very low, and we cannot say that we do not see the level of ignorance and illiteracy in our system, and how that is also contributing to the way electorates relate with their elected officials. And Dr. Sam, I want you to respond to this. What then should lawmakers do, or I would say politicians or elected officials do, to ensure that people are aware and informed? You know, aside the fact that, yes, you've been elected to do A, B, C, D, and they are supposed to checkmate and follow up and put pressure on you to make sure that you do the things that you are expected to do, yes. But since we know that there is no capacity to actually do that on the part of the electorate, what should the politicians now take advantage of that and continue to perpetuate themselves?
Oh, no, definitely. One, there is need for accountability. And if you look at the nature of politics we have in Nigeria, the best way to do is to be in touch with the people. You know, most politicians, once they win election, they disappear until it is another round of election, and then you have a problem. But you have, that's why an organization like NIOS, National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, has a lot of training programs for legislators, for their aides. Recently, if you watch the DG of the Institute, Professor Abubakar Olawaju Suleiman, he has made clear statements of the readiness of the Institute to develop the capacity of legislators. And that is why recently too, there was this collaboration between that NIOS and Yiaga Africa, where they developed the constituency relations manual, how legislators should relate with their constituents, what you should know about your constituents, how you should take information from your constituents, how you should present at the assembly. Yiaga Africa also has a program to enable legislators organize town hall meetings with their constituents. You can now go, this is what I have done, this is how I presented you, number of bills I've presented, number of motions I've moved, then they'll be able to now tell you what they feel. You'll be able to take feedback, and that calls for establishment of constituency offices. If you are detached from the people, then there will be that communication gap. So for us to get it right, there must be this accountability that legislators should be able to. In terms of performance of legislative functions, it's not when you bring palliatives alone. It's not when you attract projects alone. But what of bills you have sponsored in the House to touch the lives of citizens? It could be related to your people directly or having a national outlook.